I am so excited that 28 Lilac Lane, my new line, is now shipping to stores. Hey guys, Mayflom here, and I'm going to show you a super quick and fun little card tutorial. So what I've got here, I've got a stamped image, and it's stamped with black embossing powder. I heat embossed it, and it is on watercolor paper. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pick out a few spots, and I'm adding some color. Now what I have here is Distress Spray Stain in a watercolor brush. You could use watercolor, you could really use any kind of color medium that you would like. You could also use any stamp that you would like. And I'm just kind of coming through and picking out parts to color. As you can see, I am not aiming for perfect. I'm not aiming for any particular look. I'm just adding a bit of color, and I have my various watercolors over here with me, and I'm adding a few shades of green, some lighter, some darker. I'm also going to add a little bit of color over here, a little bit of color over here. This is a really fun thing to do because you don't have to worry at all about being perfect, or if you've got it just so. You just play around a little bit until you're happy. And it's fun because you get to just kind of go a little wild, just ever so slightly. And then add a little water, add a few buttons and things, and we're set to go. Okay, so once I've got a good amount of color on here, it doesn't have to be the finished thing, it doesn't have to be fully done. We're just going to ever so lightly squirt some water and let the colors blend and bleed and do their thing. If you want to speed it up, you can get out a heat tool and kind of encourage it to go a little faster, encourage it to dry. If you wanted, you could at this time add a little more color while it's wet. Sometimes that can be a lot of fun because you can add some interesting, it's going to apply a little differently while the paper is wet. So you can play around with those effects and what you do and don't like. You could also color in even more, or remove some color, keep adding some water, try to get it to blend a little more. It's really up to you and what you're looking for from your piece. You can also kind of direct the spray, which will direct where the color's going. Now once it is dry or nearly dry, I'm going to come in here, this is Heidi Swap Gold Mist. I'm going to come in here with some gold mist and take the lid off, add a few little flicks here, just to add a little bit of color. Now once this is done, what I want to do is decide if I want a sentiment on my card here or not. There's not a right or a wrong. It really depends on, what you see the card going for, or something like this you could turn into a small wall hanging. It really is going to depend on what you want to do with your piece. Since I'm going to want to trim a little bit off the side and mount this onto either maybe some mint cardstock or maybe some purple cardstock, but because I'm going to want to do that, what I think I'm going to do is stitch around the edge and then get out my embellishments here and embellish a bit. Now here's the really fun thing about these kits. Right now there are 12 different ones. This one happens to be the French quarter kit. And what I love about it is I've got beads, sequins, half pearls, buttons, and then trim and charms. So when I'm going to embellish something like a card front, and you can see here I've trimmed it up a little and I've stitched around it. When I'm going to embellish this, it's going to be really simple because all I am going to need to do is simply go based off size and also location. Where do I want these embellishments? Now for this, I decided I don't necessarily need a sentiment on this card. So I'm going to do one of the classic, or all classic for me, I suppose, is to do a little L bit of embellishments. Okay, so gather it at one corner. For something like this, I could probably also do it a little more onto the stamp, but I'm just going to kind of keep it to one area. And I'm going to start with my biggest embellishments. I'm going to start with the embellishments that are the largest in size, because as I work smaller and as I pick through and find things that I want to use, it'll be much easier for me to work in smaller bits and pieces than it would be if I had started with the largest pieces, because as I go through, there's going to be little gaps and little spots that I can fill with these smaller pieces. And if I had started with them, it would be very difficult for me to try and figure out where to put the larger. Now, I do think I'm going to go ahead and keep to 3 buttons, and now I'm going to work smaller with my beads, half pearls, and sequins. And I'm just adding a little bit more adhesive. Again, this is PPA, Perfect Paper Adhesive in Matte Finish. It's my adhesive of choice for this stuff because it will dry completely matte and completely clear. It's archival quality. It's UV resistant. It's wonderful, wonderful liquid adhesive. So I will go ahead and work with that. And I'm also, you may note, I'm not on a card base yet. That's definitely intentional. I like to go ahead and get all of this funky stuff done before I commit to gluing anything to a card base. And I'm adding in a few sequins. Let's see here. I like the kind of minty green, love the minty green pearls that are in this kit. And I could mix and match in other kits if I wanted. For example, maybe a bottle or a kit that had pink in it if I wanted to add a little bit of pink. But you know, for this one, I feel like it's enough, the purple and the green. I don't want to overwhelm my stamped image that I just colored. I just want to add a little bit to accentuate. So I am going to add one little gold sequin in there. And I'll add a green one up here and maybe a purple one as well. Just a few little touches. And again, if I need more adhesive, we just add a little more adhesive, not a problem. And of course, last, a few little extra beads. So as you can see, this came together really super quickly and easily. I've got a lot of fun little embellishment touches here. And yet I've got my big flower image. And if I change my mind, if when I go to give this card, this is something I do a lot, guys, okay, I'll be mounting this here to this card. If I decide, you know what, I want this to be a birthday or a bridal shower or whatever I want it to be, I will simply add a little strip of paper right here with a stamped or typed sentiment on it to finish my card, so that when I can save this and when I need a floral card, I've got it all ready to go. I hope you've enjoyed this quick little video and this look at one of my new kits that are now shipping to stores. If you have any questions or requests for future videos, please feel free to leave me a comment and let me know. I'll see you next time.